Hello, my name is Rachel and I work for Cheshire East Libraries, and I'd like to tell you about a book I love. This book is called The End We Start From. It's written by Megan Hunter, it's a debut novel, and it's published by Picador Press. As you can see, it's quite a slim volume, and you get a sneak peek at the inside. There's not an awful lot of text per page, so it's a very quick read. It's a novella of sorts, and perhaps less of a traditional novel, more of maybe a prose poem, long form prose poem, but don't let that put you off. It is very carefully, starkly and beautifully written. The story focuses on a mother who gives birth to her first child just as some kind of environmental disaster hits her home. Floodwaters rise, the city that she lives in is submerged, and her partner and her child must travel to safety. There's several themes that run throughout it. Obviously, the sort of environmental nature of the crisis that happens. Motherhood is a strong theme throughout the book, as is the idea of refugees, as well as endings and beginnings. There is some interspersing segments of myths, scripture, worldviews, religions sort of dotted in throughout the form of the poem, which serve to illustrate and uplift perhaps what the author is saying in any chosen moment. These are italicised throughout, so they stand out nicely in terms of you looking at them pages as well. What really struck me for this book was, as I say, the format. I enjoy poetry, but that long form prose poem is something that I've rarely come across, and it was an absolutely delight to read. Hunter has very carefully curated what she's picked, and the result is a very tight, very pared back telling of the story of this mother and child and the journey that they're on. In some ways, new motherhood is a metaphor perhaps for what can feel like a massive change, and maybe sometimes even the end of the world for this character. So it balances the personal with the kind of wider world view of the disasters happening around her at the time. And her baby is both a source of comfort and a source of further problems and trials as she gets used to becoming a mother. Overall, I couldn't recommend it enough. It is very powerful, very beautiful, quite mundane in many ways. The baby learns to walk, smile, crawl, and all of these things that are, for the main character, things that seem all-consuming. Another unique thing about the book that I found was that none of the characters are referred to by their full name. They are all reduced to single letters. So N and G, R's parents. The protagonist herself doesn't get a letter, I don't believe, and the baby is baby Z. They move from place to place throughout this journey. They meet people and lose other contact with other people. And that sort of shifting, that nature of what it means to be a home, what a home is, what it means to be a refugee, and to seek refuge, I found very powerful, very relevant themes in today's world as well. It sounds on the surface like quite a dark and perhaps relatively depressing story, but quite the opposite, and Hunter has gone to many pains, I feel, actually, in this very limited format that she's chosen to work within, to convey the sense of hope and new beginnings that an ending also brings. So the story is raw and all-consuming, and actually and ultimately uplifting and quite joyful. So I would highly recommend The End We Start From by Megan Hunter, and keep an eye out on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel for more Book I Love video recommendations from Cheshire East Library staff. Thank you for listening to me today. Goodbye.